In today's video, we're going to find out was this a major market manipulation or even a scam from the top G from the SEC, 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁𝗲𝗍 himself, because we can see that the price movement of Bitcoin came all the way up to the levels of 47,972 and then we crashed all the way back down to the $44,700 and at the moment we can see that Bitcoin is once again in this major support zone. So guys, yes, we're going to look at the charts, the news and the facts to find out what we could expect. So if you want to find out more, watch the video until the end, smash up the like button and subscribe, and now let's directly start with today's content. And yes guys, we saw this major move towards the upside, but first of all we're going to find out what we could expect before we're going to look at the price movement of Bitcoin. Because yes, over on X we got this post from the SEC itself. Today the SEC grants approval for Bitcoin ETFs for listing on all registered national securities and exchanges. The approved Bitcoin ETF will be subjected to ongoing surveillance and compliance measures to ensure continued investors protection. And it turned out that this was fake news or even a hack from the SEC. Because yes, exactly in these areas we got this post from the SEC government tweets all Bitcoin ETFs will be approved, and then we saw this massive pump towards the upside, nearly to the $48,000 level, and afterwards we saw this strong sell-off, but only at the levels of $44,500 we got the post from 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁𝗲𝗍 saying that the SEC account was hacked. So yes, this dump happened not because of the information that this was fake news. No, the price dumped all the way down and only here we got this news that this was just fake news. But then we saw that the price movement recovered and came all the way up to the $46,000 level, where we can see exactly here the SEC regains control over their account and deletes original. And afterwards the SEC tweets that they have been hacked and have not approved any Bitcoin ETFs exactly here, and then we saw that the price movement went sideways. But guys, was it maybe 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁 himself, the worst crypto scammer? I don't find any difference between Ben ETH, BitBoy and 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁. Imagine scammers sitting on the SEC chair. The hack yesterday was done by 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁 himself to use it as a last resort to delay or even reject the Bitcoin spot ETF. And remember what I told you, these major institutions are just manipulating you through the mainstream media. So maybe yes, this was maybe a last resort post from the SEC to delay the Bitcoin spot ETF even longer. But now you ask yourself the question, why do I think that 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁 is behind all of this? Because it's very ironic, a few months ago we got this post from the SEC. Careful what you read on the internet. The best source of information about the SEC is the SEC. And this fake news turned out to be on the SEC's Twitter account. But guys, if we go over to the next post. Breaking: Securities and Exchange lawyers told Fox Business that the SEC will have to investigate itself for market manipulation following the hack of the Bitcoin ETF approval post. So yes, we're going to get this investigation, which we can read from the lawyers. So yes, maybe we're going to get this delay from the ETF approval. So yes, this could be one of the reasons why we're going to get this ETF delay. But let's go over to the next news, because we can see that X Safety posted, based on our investigation, the compromise was not due to any breach of X systems, but rather due to an unidentified individual obtaining control over a phone number associated with a SEC account through a third party. So overall we can see that X found out that this was a hack outside of X. So somebody gained any information about 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁 or even the SEC's phone number to be able to hack this account. So when could we expect this approval or even the denial of the Bitcoin spot ETF? If we go over to the next news, we can see breaking: Bloomberg said Bitcoin ETF approval likely between 4 and 6 PM today. So yes guys, it is going to be extremely important that we're going to find out, are we going to get this approval, this denial, or even are we going to get this pump or even a dump? Nobody knows guys. This is going to be a historical moment for Bitcoin. And with that being said, let's go over to the charts. And yes, we're going to start on the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, because yes, we had this volatile price movement for Bitcoin, and yes, we could see that the price movement of Bitcoin bounced perfectly off from this level and we came back above the 13 moving average on the 4-hour chart. But as we can see, we came all the way back down and even formed a lower low, and we nearly reached the 100 moving average on the 4-hour chart. But we can see that we bounced off perfectly from the support box. So ultimately guys, I expect some major volatility within the next few hours until we're going to get any decision from the SEC. If we go on the daily chart, because overall we can see that Bitcoin is still within this bullish trend, that Bitcoin is forming higher lows exactly from the levels, and we can also draw a trend line exactly from this low all the way up, and then we can see that we perfectly bounced off from this trend line round about the levels of $44,300. So guys, ultimately, if we're going to break this level, I could expect that we're going to come all the way back down to the range low on the daily chart, and we've been talking about this range for a very long time, because once again we saw that we broke out from this range, but we failed. But at the moment we can see we are still above the top of the range exactly in these levels. So ultimately guys, I expect that we're going to get this bounce and also this volatility within this major zone of this high of nearly $48,000 and all the way down here at the levels of $44,700, because if we're going to zoom out and we're going to turn on the volume price range, then we can see we got a lot of support exactly in these areas. So I could expect that yes, we're going to see this price movement and this volatility play in this range before we're going to get any decision. And guys, keep in mind, if we're going to get the approval, doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to go up only. I could expect that we're going to come all the way to the $50,000 level within this approval or even denial, and we could see a range of yes, the worst case scenario is going to be the $31,000 exactly here, where we have got the 100 and the 50 moving average and also this very important trend line that Bitcoin needs to hold. But overall guys, even if we're going to see this bearish case play out and that we're going to come all the way back down to this trend line, this wouldn't be the end of the world. Because why? This would still be a bullish structure and Bitcoin would still be forming a higher low, and this is ultimately bullish. And remember, in round about mid of April, we're going to get the next Bitcoin halving, and we could expect this parabolic run for Bitcoin. So if you want to buy Bitcoin on the spot market or trade it on the futures, go down in the video description below and sign up to BITFLEX, Bybit, or even OKX. And if you want to trade without any KYC, sign up to MEXC. And guys, remember, if you always want to stay up to date, make sure to be in my free Telegram group and smash up the like button and subscribe. And most importantly, be for crypto, and we see each other in the next video.